Hello everyone, welcome to Texture Myth. In this session, we are going to talk about another very important topic related to medical coding anatomy, where we will be mainly focusing on sensory receptor classification 2 by the location in the body. Okay, so if you remember, we have already covered the first classification with its all type and subtypes, right? Now we are going to continue with the second type of classification, and it also has multiple types and subtypes. So what we will do to make the things easier for you, firstly I'll introduce you with classification second. Okay, in this session we will mainly discussing what is classification 2 by the location in the body, how it is useful, what all information it provides. Okay, so these all things we will be discussing in this session, right? And after that, one by one we will explore its type in detail. Okay, but before we start discussing these all things, I would like to recommend you to please go and check out the previously released session first, because they all are in proper sequence and sync. So if you follow it sequentially, then it would be much more easier for you to understand the ongoing topic, because for time being we are just mainly focusing on what is sensory receptor classification 2 by the location in the body. Okay, but prior to that you should know about the other type that we have already covered and other things that you should know in this sequence. And for that you can also refer the Texture Myth digital course book. There you will find thousands of sessions available in both Hindi as well as English language. So without any language barrier you can consume the content, and in case if you have any queries or questions related to that, feel free to reach out to me through comment section. Okay, alright, so let's get started and see what is classification 2. So classification 2, like, this is the second way of classifying the sensory receptors based on where they are located in the body. Okay, so if someone asks you what is the classification 2 of sensory receptor, so you can say that this is the second way of classifying the sensory receptor, which is based on the where they are located in the body. Okay, so in simple terms you can say, instead of asking what does the receptor detect, which was classification 1, this classification asks where in the body is the receptor located. Okay, so basically it tells where in the body the receptor is located. Okay, so simple definition: location based classification tells us where the receptor is found and what environment it is monitoring. Okay, so it basically tells where it is found and what environment it is monitoring. Okay, remember one thing, there are multiple classifications, so we should know the difference between them. Okay, we should know, otherwise what will happen, like, you will misunderstood or misinterpret the information when it is asked in the interviews or examination. So it's always better to go one by one, understand the classification properly, understand its types properly, then things would be easier for you. Okay, so one thing is clear, that this classification is based on the location particularly, and it tells where the receptor is found and what environment it is monitoring. Now some of you might be thinking, why this classification is important for us, right? Why do we really need to learn or understand this classification? Because there are multiple reasons. Okay, here you can see I have noted down all the reasons. The first reason says it helps us understand which part of the body each receptor is responsible for monitoring. So this is very important, as its name suggests. This classification is important because it helps us to understand which part of the body each receptor is responsible for monitoring. Second thing is, it tells us whether the receptor monitors the outside world or the inside of the body. It helps us to understand how the brain receives information from different body regions. Okay, next thing, it is important in clinical medicine. Knowing where receptors are located help doctor and professional to understand symptoms and diagnose the condition. Yes, if you really know about the locations and everything specifically, then for the doctors and medical expert, it is very easy for them to identify the symptoms, to understand the symptoms, and then to diagnose the condition as per the need. Okay, so as we can see, like there are multiple reasons for which we should know about this classification. We should understand this classification. Okay, now the next thing is how many types of receptors resides in this particular classification. So to understand this, what we will do, we will walk through this table where I have just give you the overview, although these are the separate broader topic itself. Okay, so we will discuss it one by one in the upcoming sessions, but for now just understand the overview. Okay, here you can see we have 4 columns. One is type, where we have mentioned type 1, type 2, type 3. Second column is for name, third is location, and fourth one is what it monitors. Okay, so let's see one by one. The first type is exteroceptors. Exteroceptors means which is something related to external environment. Okay, so its type is type 1, exteroceptors. Location is surface of the body and sense organ. Okay, it is present on the surface of the body and sense organ. What it monitors? It monitors external environment. Okay, so this is also an interview question, what it really monitors. So it monitors the external environment. Then we have second type, which is interoceptors. Second type is interoceptors, which is also known as visceroceptors. Okay, the location is inside the body, organs and vessel. Okay, it is present inside the body, vessel, organs and inside the body, organs and vessel. Now the question is what it really monitors. So it monitors the internal environment. So sometime in interview also they will ask you which environment is monitored by the interoceptors. So just remember these names. Okay, extro means external, intro means internal. Okay, so from there only you will get the information. Next thing is type 3, which is proprioceptors. Location is muscle, tendons and joint. And what it really monitors? It monitors the body position and movement. It monitors the body position and movements. So these are the 3 types that we will be elaborating in the upcoming sessions in detail, like what is exteroceptors, what is interoceptors, what is proprioceptors. Okay, so these all things we will be covering in from next session in detail. Meanwhile, like you can practice it, and in case if you have any question, because before we proceed further with this classification 2, I hope you know the classification 1. Okay, because if you know those things, then while discussing these classification 2, I will explain you the concept by taking some of the reference from the previous session. Why? Because there are multiple terminology that we will be using, there are multiple process that we will be discussing. Okay, so in case if you don't know about those terminologies, if you don't know about those process, then I think it might be bit difficult for you to understand it. Okay, that's why I have created the entire playlist in a proper sequence, so that you guys can easily learn this thing properly. And in case if you want to simply like ask anything related to the session series or anything, you can simply reach out to me. Okay, all right, so now for today, like there is one question for all of you, and today's question is, what is the most sensitive baroreceptors location in the human body? Okay, so this thing we have discussed obviously in the last session, but I'm sure like you already know the answer because you are following the series. So just do share your knowledge in the comment section so that others can take a reference from it. But in case if you don't know the answer, don't worry, like you can check out the last session where we have discussed this thing in detail. So once you got the information from there, then you can share your knowledge again. Okay, but keep commenting on these questions, keep sharing your knowledge through the answers. Okay, because the moment when you post the answer in comment section, it gives me the notification that you guys are learning from these sessions, and then I will release more new sessions to this playlist series. Okay, so make sure to share your comments in timely manner so that I can release more sessions. Okay, and in case if you have any queries, questions related to anything, you can simply mention that question as well. Okay, so yeah, that's all for today. and from next session we will discuss its type in detail. So yep, thank you for watching Tech Sharmat.